Humans had finally entered Asia, but they had no idea they were standing at the edge of the largest continent on Earth. Everything they had explored so far was only the beginning. Nearly all of Asia still lay ahead. No maps, no roads, no cities, no one waiting on the other side. Every decision would shape the next generation's journey. And unlike Africa, Asia was not one landscape, it was many worlds connected together. Some regions were freezing in winter, others stayed warm throughout the year. Some landscapes offered endless rivers, others offered almost none. Some forests were so dense that sunlight barely reached the ground. Some plains stretched farther than anyone could see. One continent, countless challenges, countless discoveries. The Story of Human Exploration, Episode 3, The Great Journey Across Asia. Chapter 1, Asia, the Biggest Challenge Yet. Standing at the edge of Asia, early humans faced a continent larger than anything they had ever known. There were no signs pointing east, no paths showing the safest way forward. Every direction looked equally unknown. Choosing the wrong route could mean days without water or food. So what guided the first explorers? The answer wasn't written on a map, it was written in nature itself. Long before maps existed, rivers were already showing the way. Mountain ranges often looked impossible to cross, but they also contained hidden gateways. Wide valleys offered easier travel than steep hills or rocky cliffs. Even animals unknowingly became guides. Where animals found water, humans often found opportunity. Following wildlife also meant learning the seasons. Some rivers flowed all year, others disappeared during dry seasons. Reading the landscape became one of humanity's greatest survival skills. Nature wasn't giving directions, it was giving clues. Every successful journey added new knowledge. That knowledge spread farther than any one person could travel. Slowly, the unknown became familiar. Without realizing it, humanity was creating its first mental maps of Asia. Those invisible maps would guide people toward rivers, mountains, and coastlines that would shape the future of humanity.
Chapter 2, Nature's Highways. If you look at the world's earliest migration routes, you'll notice something remarkable. Most of them follow nature. That wasn't a coincidence. It was survival. Fresh water was the most valuable resource in the prehistoric world. Without reliable water, long journeys became almost impossible. That is why rivers became humanity's first highways. Rivers didn't just provide water, they offered food almost every day. Many animals followed these same rivers, and where animals gathered, hunters often followed. Nature was quietly bringing life together. But rivers weren't the only natural highways. Coastlines offered another reliable route. The sea provided food even when hunting on land became difficult. Coastlines also made it harder to lose your direction. A coastline always tells you where one side of the world ends. Then there were the valleys. Valleys often provided easier walking than steep mountains. Some valleys connected entire regions. Mountain ranges looked like barriers, but they also hid narrow gateways. These mountain passes became some of the most important routes in human history. Nature wasn't blocking the journey, it was quietly guiding it. Scientists can still identify many of these ancient natural corridors today. Many of these routes remained important for thousands of years. Some would later become famous trade routes. Long before roads existed, the landscape had already planned the easiest paths. Humans didn't invent these routes, they discovered them. The Earth itself became humanity's first guidebook. But every new region brought completely different conditions. The routes stayed natural. The challenges kept changing. To survive, humans would have to learn something even more important than navigation. They would have to learn how to adapt.
Chapter 3. One Continent, Many Worlds. Crossing Asia wasn't just a journey across one continent. It was a journey through completely different worlds. The skills that worked in one place could fail completely in another. Survival meant learning again and again. Let's begin in Southwest Asia. This region was dry, but it wasn't an endless desert. Seasonal rains created rivers, grasslands, and temporary lakes in many areas. Communities learned to move with the seasons, following water and food instead of staying in one place year-round. Farther east rose the Iranian Plateau, a land of high elevations, broad valleys, and mountain chains. Travel here demanded careful planning. Water was less predictable, and crossing high ground required more energy. But the plateau also offered a remarkable advantage. It connected Southwest Asia to the heart of the continent. It became one of the great crossroads of prehistoric Asia. Beyond the plateau stretched the vast grasslands of Central Asia. Unlike forests, these open plains allowed people to see for kilometers in every direction. Open landscapes made tracking animals easier, but they also left people exposed to wind, cold, and predators. In Central Asia, survival depended on reading both the land and the sky. Farther south, another world awaited. South Asia offered some of the richest river systems on Earth. Water was abundant, but so was competition from wildlife. These rivers provided food, fresh water, fertile floodplains, and reliable travel corridors. Some scientists believe these great river systems helped support growing human populations over long periods. The farther east people traveled, the wetter the landscapes became. Southeast Asia was unlike anywhere humans had experienced before. Dense forests limited visibility, but offered an incredible variety of plants and animals. Moving through these forests required patience, observation, and new survival skills. Finally, humans reached the temperate landscapes of East Asia. Here, changing seasons became an even greater challenge. Preparing for winter became just as important as finding food today. Across Asia, every new environment demanded a different solution. Humans didn't survive because they were the strongest animals. They survived because they could learn, share knowledge, and adapt faster than almost any other species. And that ability to adapt would carry humanity farther than any species had ever traveled before. Chapter 4. The Science of Adaptation. The farther humans traveled, the more they realized something important. Surviving in a new place meant changing the way they lived. Nature didn't adapt to humans. Humans adapted to nature. The first change was often the simplest: where to sleep. A shelter that worked on a grassland might fail completely in a rainforest. People learned by observing, experimenting, and improving. Clothing changed too. Different climates demanded different materials. Stone tools became more specialized over time. One tool could rarely solve every problem. The more environments humans explored, the more knowledge they accumulated. Fire became one of humanity's greatest advantages. It changed what people could eat, where they could live, and even how long they could remain active after sunset. Food itself became more diverse. Different environments offered different opportunities. Learning what was safe to eat became essential knowledge. Knowledge could save lives just as much as strength, and unlike physical strength, knowledge could be shared. Every generation inherited more than genes, they inherited experience. That shared experience became humanity's greatest survival strategy. No single person discovered everything. Thousands of communities each added a small piece to the story. Together, those small discoveries transformed an entire species. The greatest human invention wasn't a tool, it was learning from one another. That ability allowed humans to survive where stronger animals could not. Every successful adaptation made the next journey a little easier, and every journey created new ideas to pass forward. Step by step, humanity became the most adaptable large mammal on Earth. Those adaptations didn't just help humans survive Asia, they prepared humanity to explore the rest of the world. Chapter 5. Asia Changes Humanity. By the time humans had spread across Asia, they had accomplished something no other human species had ever achieved. One small population had explored the largest continent on Earth, and every new landscape added another chapter to the human story. Across thousands of years, countless communities solved different survival challenges. Together, those discoveries made humanity more adaptable than ever before. Asia became humanity's greatest classroom. Here, humans learned lessons that no single environment could have taught alone. Those lessons would soon travel far beyond Asia itself. Because the greatest discovery wasn't a place, it was the ability to keep learning. Every generation inherited thousands of years of experience. Knowledge became humanity's invisible backpack. It could be carried across deserts, over mountains, through forests, and into every new landscape they would one day explore. Asia wasn't the end of the journey. It was the beginning of humanity becoming a global species. Every future exploration began with the knowledge gained here. Without this journey, later explorations might never have happened. Australia, Europe, Siberia, and, thousands of years later, the Americas. Every one of those stories began with the journey across Asia. Humanity had crossed the world's largest continent not by conquering it, but by understanding it. That may have been our species' greatest achievement. Because exploration has never been about finding new lands, it's about becoming capable of living in them. And by the end of this incredible journey, humanity was finally ready to explore the rest of the world.
By now, humans had spread across most of Asia, from dry plateaus to tropical rainforests, from open grasslands to snowy valleys. They had learned to survive in environments unlike anything their ancestors had known. But one destination still seemed impossible. Beyond the forests and coastlines lay a vast stretch of open sea. On the horizon was a land no human had ever reached before, Australia. Even when sea levels were lower than today, deep channels of water still separated Asia from Australia. Walking alone would never be enough. So humanity faced a completely new challenge, not crossing a desert, not climbing a mountain, but crossing open water for the very first time. How did people who had never built modern ships manage to reach an entirely new continent nearly 65,000 years ago? That extraordinary journey begins in the next episode.